Hello everyone, March W13 here, and today we're visiting the Bullock Texas State History Museum in Austin, Texas. So whether you're a Texas resident or you've never even visited the States before, welcome, and I invite you to join me. During COVID-19 times, you need to obtain a timed ticket in advance, which you can show on your phone when you enter. Let's head inside. Now we're in the main atrium area here that greets you when you first enter the museum. It has a domed roof, much like the Texas Capitol building, only a few blocks away from here. And as we pan down, you can see the three levels of exhibit halls that comprise the museum. And then this shiny terrazzo-style floor beneath the dome includes scenes of campfires that depict the story of the birth of Texas. And as you probably know, Texas history spans 6 nations, the 6 flags of Texas, if you will. The first of which is France, beginning with La Salle's 17th century expedition to Louisiana, which would become New France, La Nouvelle France. And the exhibits here sort of progress in this chronological timeline fashion, starting with the 1600s. And this wooden ship called La Belle is the last remaining one from La Salle's expedition. It sank to the bottom of Matagorda Bay in a storm where it remained until it was extracted in 1995 and then placed in this museum. There is, of course, a great deal of exhibit space devoted to Native Americans, the so-called American Indians who inhabited these lands for centuries prior to the arrival of European explorers from France and Spain, including the Comanches. And this display case here has several Comanche artifacts, including a warrior's lance and this war shirt. The Alabama Coshada tribe, domiciled now near Polk County in East Texas, have an interesting history that begins in present-day Alabama and continues today near Livingston, Texas, where they settled after being driven out of their native lands by European settlers in the 1700s. This is the famed Adam-Onis Treaty that ceded Florida as well as parts of present-day Mississippi, Alabama, and Louisiana to the United States from Spain, which was a significant coup for American diplomacy and ultimately set the stage for continued westward and southward expansion of U.S. territory. And as told here, this also set the stage for border disputes, with some Americans calling for the border with Spain to be established at the Rio Grande River in present-day Texas. This is a sculpture of Sam Houston, who was essentially Texas's George Washington in the sense that he was the lead general in the Texas Revolution, and he became the first president of the fledgling Republic of Texas after independence from Mexico. The phrase "come and take it" became a battle cry emblematic of the Texas Revolution when settlers refused to return a Mexican government-issued cannon in the town of Gonzales, and they successfully repelled an attempt by Mexican troops to recover it. And I really found this artifact interesting. It belonged to David Burnett, who was interim president of the Republic of Texas before democratic elections were held, and he was a mobile president having to constantly evade the Mexican army, and this was his traveling desk. Here we have yet another interesting item. These were 44 caliber dueling pistols that belonged to infamous Mexican General Santa Anna that were of course confiscated from him when he was captured at the Battle of San Jacinto near Houston. In the early days of Texas nationhood after the Revolution, Texas diplomats sought to acquire recognition from foreign countries, including Britain, who was eager to weaken any relationship Texas might form with the rapidly strengthening United States, and this is a letter describing those ambitions. But ultimately, as we know, the Texas Republic ceased to exist and it became part of the United States as the 28th state in 1846, which resulted in a flag with 28 stars, which were arranged themselves in a star pattern. And this design was not prohibited since the flag resolution of 1777 specified only the number of stripes and stars and not the arrangement of those stars. And now we enter a dark period in our nation's history, the Civil War, which raged from 1861 to 1865. And this cannon, I believe, is from the CSS Bayou City, which was a Confederate gunboat used in the Battle of Galveston in 1863.
But where will you go? You go when an officer in the center asks this question. Do you men wish to be sworn into service for 12 months, or for 3 years, or for during the war? With a unanimity never surpassed, a shout unheard of before, that whole body of men shouted.
Now, this artifact here is quite special. It's the original Goddess of Liberty, which crowned the Texas State Capitol building, which is only a few blocks from here, until 1985. Her design was inspired by the Greek goddess Athena, so she stands for wisdom and justice and defense of the state. And it's such a pleasure to have her here in this museum. And now we enter the more modern post-Civil War and 20th century Texas, where farming and ranching are, of course, central to our economy. And you see all the elements there that are vital to that piece of our economy. But so is energy, with Houston being the energy capital of the world and with oil having been discovered in Texas near Beaumont in the early 20th century. There's an entire wing of the museum devoted to the industry, and this video here plays on a loop, and it depicts here a dynamically positioned drill ship called the Discover Clear Leader, and this platform called Jack St. Malo, which is a deep water project in the Gulf of Mexico that achieved first oil in 2014, and it produces nearly 100,000 barrels a day. And this video shows an up-close view of the platform from helicopter. And you can see it has 2 helicopter pads there, one labeled south and one labeled east, with the name of the corporation that owns and operates the platform. And these platforms are like mini cities. They have mess halls and residential facilities. And now we have what is obviously some drone footage, so I'll just let you enjoy the rest of this video, and we'll be back in just one moment. So there is the big video board, and the rest of the energy exhibit is devoted to exploration and production and energy usage, including oil products and byproducts. Now, although you may be unaware, Texas is a very prolific producer of wine, and this thank you letter from Lady Bird Johnson in 1975 sings the praises of Sagamore Vineyards located near Lubbock, Texas now has over 400 wineries and trails only California, New York, Washington, and Oregon in domestic wine production by state. And no accounting of Texas history would be complete without addressing the Galveston hurricane of 1900, the deadliest storm in U.S. history, which killed many thousands of people. And these series of telegrams recount the carnage in damage reports to the governor in the days immediately following the landfall of the hurricane. Of course, Texas and Houston specifically have played an outsized role in space exploration as well, with Houston famously being the first word uttered by a human on the moon in 1969. And you can visit the original mission control at Space Center Houston. But this console here is an original that was used for testing and training purposes at the Johnson Space Center. And some of it is behind glass, but other pieces you can reach out and touch. The Astrodome was the first dome stadium, and it was actually designed for natural grass. But after the grass died, it was eventually replaced with AstroTurf, the first artificial grass used for sports arenas. This is also an original seat from the Astrodome. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this tour. In my opinion, this is among the finest history museums in the United States. And I didn't even get a chance to talk about the Texas Spirit Theater or the IMAX or any of the special exhibits. So I highly encourage you to visit it. And we'll see you there. March W13 out.